Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tattva Tuesday. This is Lindsay Warwick, the conduit with Lindsay Warwick on YouTube and Spotify. Super excited for this week's guest. It's been a long time coming, but this is George Becker. He is the co-founder of the MIIDZERØ experience that we have here right now in Myrtle Beach. So super excited. Finally, George, the stars have aligned and you are on the podcast because it has been so funny. Like tried to have you like a couple months ago. You were sick and then I was sick. So it's, thankfully it's happening now.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like, first of all, it's my honor and thank you for inviting me to be on your show. It's definitely a privilege. Yeah, for a while there, I'm just going like between COVID and life in general. It's just like it's going to happen, and we just don't know when. Oh, good God! But no, everything worked out, and here we are, and let's roll.
I know for sure. I know. And it's like, it's cool timing because I know you have a lot of movement happening with MIIDZERØ, and also like the other co-founder is in town right now. And it's just like it's cool timing. It's like, I couldn't have planned it. You know what I mean? Like it always just, everything just shakes out like that sometimes. So yeah, cool. So I'm stoked that you're here. Let's just get into it. The Tattva Tuesday interview series is Tattva is a Sanskrit word that means truth. And so I invite people on here that have, impacted me to tell their story about, them, your life, and your conception of God or source or all of the things. And then also, you have quite an outstanding offering with the MIIDZERØ experience. And so obviously I want you to talk about that too. So let's just start with, your story, your conception of God and all that. Just some light conversation topics.
Awesome. I grew up in the coal regions of Pennsylvania. It's a very harsh area. I had the, as I say, standard coal region upbringing, and it's tough. It's a tough life. I was going through life slacking. I'm not gonna lie, I was a slacker, so like doing the bare minimum. When I was about 19 years old, I kind of got in a little bit of trouble. Basically, doing some things I shouldn't, just being kids. But basically, I got pulled over for a DUI, and I went to see the magistrate, and he was a friend of the family, thank God. And he said, "Hey, I'll make a deal with you. If you join the military, this will all go away." So at the age of 19, I joined the Air Force. I spent 21 years there. Started off in security forces. Then I transferred over to combat arms as an instructor. Through that process, I ended up spending about 21 years with the Air Force. That between the active duty, National Guard, and Reserves, combined time 21 years. I was medically retired in 2013. Basically, I've had a fractured back, fractured neck, 7 knee operations, 12 TBIs, pretty much, you name it. It's like I was like the guy. It's like, think of the craziest story. It happened to me. It was just like, gosh. Yeah. But early on in my career, I got recruited to go work for the Central Intelligence Agency. So I left active duty, and that's when I transferred into the National Guard and Reserve. And I started with them in 1996. I started off as a security protective officer, which is basically a federal police officer. Pretty cool job. I transferred over to the armory, which I was a weapons expert. That's what I did in the military. I worked for them for a while, and then September 11th happened. I got called back to active duty. Between the CIA and the military, I did 7 combat tours.
Wow.
Basically, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was the most freeing moment of my life, but it was also the scariest moment of my life. It was just, and that's kind of where my spiritual journey kind of changed. Because up until that point, I had grown up, a Roman Catholic, very, very, very strict, very, very, this is what it is. At that time, and as I was traveling around the world, I was seeing several different cultures. I've been in about 60 to 70 different countries. And the one thing I'm really, really proud of myself is every country I ever went to, I tried to learn a little bit of the culture. Like, why are people the way they are? And that's always been a fascination with me. So like when I lived in the Far East, I learned like Far East religions, like whether it was Hinduism, whether it was Buddhism. I mean, all the different types of religions. When I was in South America, I learned other ones. When I was in Africa, I learned all those different, and it kind of changed the way I looked at religion. I'm not saying I'm no longer a Roman Catholic, but I don't necessarily believe there's one God. I don't think there's one right one. I don't think there's one wrong one. What I do believe, there is an energy, and I believe we all do give off that energy. And with that energy, we attract people or we repel people, and it brings things into our life. As we were talking just before the call,
Yes.
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, we finally got to a schedule when all these things lined up, I don't believe that's, I believe it's some cosmic thing, and I don't know what it is, and that's kind of the search I'm on now. It's like, but I do believe is we reap what we sow. If you put the positive energy out there, you put the positive vibes out there, and you're doing the right thing, and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to have bad times. But in the long run, the growth that you get, and those bad times are needed for growth. You don't grow unless something bad happens. So basically, I like when it comes to the religion part of it, it's like I have a belief, but I'm not saying I don't categorize it as any specific religion.
Okay. I'm here for that.
What's that?
I said, okay, yeah, I'm here for that. I mean, I've said it before, and I truly believe, many rivers, one ocean. I think everybody has their own conception of what makes them have purpose in life. And that's, I'm also fascinated by other religions, cultures, spirituality in general. That's why I started this. So yeah, I think it's fascinating. And I think it's also amazing that in those environments that you were in, you tried to learn as much as you could about that. And I think there's such a real benefit to traveling and getting out of your comfort zone and like realizing like, whoa, like there is so much more than my bubble, like my little bubble,
Yeah. And that became like really evident. Like I said, in 2013, I ended up being medically retired from the military. And that's really where all this came together. Because I'll be honest with you, is I love the military. I loved every part of it.
And thank you for your service.
I didn't work for 30 years. I mean, between the government and the military, I literally woke up every morning and just loved what I did. Part of that was taken away from me. Well, not taken away, but basically I got hurt and it's like I could no longer serve. But through that, my spirituality grew so much more. Becoming the person that I am today, I could not be the person I am today unless that had happened to me. And at first I was bitter for a while, and it kind of started me off on a bad path. And finally culminated, I was still working as a contractor for the Central Intelligence Agency until about 2017. In 2015, I had a bad attitude. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was 2013 was a really rough year for me. Like I said, I was retired in January of 2013 from the military. My youngest brother passed away in October of 2013. At the end of December 2013, the contract I was working on, basically, I was let go. To say that devastated me. At that point, I had lost my identity. Thankfully, like I said, everything works out the way it should, and things happen. I picked up another contract, wasn't really thrilled about it, and it was only like a part-time deal. So I kind of drifted, like from 2013 to 2017. I was really just drifting around, just like trying to figure out who I am, where I'm going. It's why am I here? What's the purpose? It's like, because I had built my entire life based on my work.
Yeah.
I never developed anything other than that, because that was everything to me. In about 2015, I moved down here to Myrtle Beach. Basically, I live with my aunt who lives next door to me now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
basically just wondering, like, where am I going to go? And at that point, I was going through the VA. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, depression, PTSD. I had chronic pain from the injuries that I had sustained. And every time I go there, it was like, here's a pill.
Yep.
Then I take that pill and I get a side effect, so they give me another pill. I mean, by the time it was all said and done, I was up like to 25 to 30 pills a day. And I was still
Holy crap.
feeling like horrible. I mean, just absolutely horrible. So in about 2017, I basically decided, enough is enough. I've got to figure this out. I went back to college at the age of 47. You want to talk about stress? You want to talk about culture shock? It's like, you want to talk about I'm sitting there like with all these 18-year-old kids. My very first class was physics. The physics teacher looks at me and goes, "Are you crazy taking physics as your first class back to college after like 30 years?" Oh, I got to do what I got to do.
It's a valid question.
Yes, it is. It was. And his name was Dr. G. And Dr. G was very, very zen. And he and I became extremely good friends. And he helped me transition from the life I was leading to that of a college student. And but that's also where I started looking at like ice baths, saunas, and alternate healing techniques, and basically how the spiritual world and the medical world actually do converge.
Totally.
To give us that better experience in life and to be able to live life. I graduated last May 21st, 2021.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It was an awesome day.
That is so badass.
Yeah. But those 4 years were probably my largest growth spiritually, because what I had learned when I was in the military, people would follow you because they had to. I learned how to communicate with a much younger generation, with a much different value set, with a much different thought process of life, and became what I feel is going to be lifelong friends with people who I would never have spoken to in my life. I mean, I was 50 years old and I'm sitting next to a 19-year-old and he's talking about the latest video game. I'm going like, yeah, dude, we had Pong when I was a kid. It's like I was born before cell phones, and like that was completely foreign to them. So it was definitely, but through that experience, my understanding of the world they live in today was so much different than the world I lived in, and just helped me grow exponentially to where I'm at today. It's just like, wow. It's just like, and like I said, did something negative happen? Yes, but I had the choice at that point. What am I going to do? I can either keep putting out that negative energy, or just realize, hey, start putting out the positive energy, start moving forward. And that's what I did. So that's been pretty much like my idea of like spirituality and how I derived my spirituality.
Wow. It's amazing. I had like a million questions pop up in my head. I was like, ooh, CIA, can you tell us about that? Probably not. But then, I just think it's an incredible story. And it's like, you were in my yin class last week, and like the whole concept of the class was rebirth, and going through the process of rebirth isn't like, ooh, yay, I'm born again. It's like, this is terrible. This sucks. Like, we're going into the dark. And, if you think about it like a butterfly, you're literally in a confined space in the dark and you have no idea what's about to happen. Then you become this butterfly. And it's like, it's funny how like those hard times are the times that force us to shift into what we're supposed to be doing. Wouldn't it be lovely if like we didn't have to learn the hard way? But it's like, yeah, for some reason, like the human condition is motivated by pain and suffering and hard times, literally, like just like how pressure being applied to coal like makes a diamond, basically. It's crazy, but I think it's such an inspiring story that, at whatever age you went back to school and you're doing this thing now called the MIIDZERØ experience. And I've gone through the experience. It's incredible. So essentially you get into a sauna, you do some breath work, and you get into an ice bath. It is like completely shocking. And listen, I literally loathe being cold. I hate it. It's funny. My mom says I was born during a blizzard, but I literally loathe being cold. That's why I live in the South now. And I was so terrified to do the experience. I was so nervous. But it was, I felt very held and supported by you and by Nicole. And it just was an incredible experience. Total mind shift experience, because literally the only thing you can think about when you're in that cold. Now the sauna, I teach hot yoga. I could be in the heat all day long, no problem. I love the breath work, but that moment before getting into the ice bath, I was like, oh shit. Like I was really scared. But then you saw me, like, cause I'm go hard or go home. I like got all the way down in the water, like all the way up, got my shoulders under. And, I just felt so supported by the other people in the water with me. But you really do get to the mind zero point, because the only thing you can think of is, I gotta fucking breathe. All I can do is breathe. And I just remember, like, because it was set up outside, the dog park, like I was just focused on the dog park across the way. I was like, I can do this, and I did it. And it just was so powerful and empowering. And I really believe in the experience. And I loved your story, when I met you. And that literally, when was that? That is when I asked you to do this podcast, and it's freaking August now. I don't remember when that was.
February-ish, maybe?
Yeah, it was February. It was it was a while ago. So, that was my take on the Mind Zero experience, but would love to hear it from the co-founder.
Basically is what we do is we use it's homeostatic stress conditioning. What we do is we basically shock the system. When we take you in the sauna, and we're working within the autonomic nervous system. Mm-hmm. And in the sauna, we're kind of getting you amped up. We're bringing all that stuff to the surface. And basically, we're getting you amped up. We're getting you amped up. So we come from the sauna, which is about 185 to 187 degrees, is right around where we try to keep it.
It's very comfortable for me.
Yes, it is. The last couple have been really hot. It's been not so comfortable, but
yeah.
But what we do, and we're getting you prepped to go into the cold water. The cold water, we keep around 50 to 55 degrees. 50 to 59 is ideal. We try to keep it 50 to 55. And what we're doing is we're getting ready to activate your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is basically the stress part of your life. And hormesis is stress. We are stressing your body, but it's considered a good stress in short durations. So the process, we're bringing up the bad stress. We're doing a process with good stress, and basically boost your resilience to the bad stress. Because once you stress your body, once you train yourself, like you said, all I have to do is breathe. All I have to do is get in that water. And we use the breath work to control the mind. As we're controlling the mind, the body is nothing more than a machine. It really is. It's, we need air, water, food, and water. Yeah, there's a fourth one. I'm sorry, I completely blanked right there. But we're overriding. The body will take care of itself. It's usually our mind that limits us. It's our mind that stops us from being able to do anything, because anything is possible. I truly believe that. I believe anything is possible. You just have to figure out how to do it, and you have to be willing to put in the work. But with that stress conditioning, and especially in today's world where everybody has a cell phone, the news is on, everything is. We're hit with billions and billions and billions, honestly, of negative energy. And what we're doing is we can't shut that off. Even if I shut my cell phone off, I drive down the street, I got about 87 billboards. Just drive down like 17 businesses. It's nothing but billboards. There's nothing but information, or even on the radio. So what we're doing is we designed it to shut down the mind, because our mind is overprocessed. And we repeat that 2 times. And the reason we do that 2 times is the first time you get in the ice bath, you're so petrified.
Literally.
There's so much anxiety there. And I've taken a lot of ice baths, and I won't lie to anybody. They're always cold. They are. It is. You don't get used to it. It doesn't get less cold. It does get easier though, because what we know is after we accomplish something difficult, the second time we do it is not as difficult. The third time we do it is not as difficult. And we know it's not going to hurt us. It's actually going to make us feel better. So we do that process twice. And then we usually close with a mindfulness or a 10-minute block. And we don't like to label that as meditation or anything like that. Because it's different things for different people. Some people it's meditation. Some people it's, hey, energizing. Some people it may be, hey, I just really having a bad day and I just need some positive vibes. So that process, as we go through that process, after the homeostatic stress conditioning, it allows us to focus a little bit more, because I was able to shut that mind off. And then when we come out the other side, people come out, and we've had experiences where people have been like, I am so energized. I mean, we had one guy go through the course. I think he might've been in your class. He was a bartender. He had just worked 18 hours. He was working 3 jobs. And he was exhausted when he got there. He goes, I can go work another 3 shifts. And then I've had other people say, well, I'm energized, but I'm calm. I just had that clear focus, that really clear mental picture. And we've also had the other people. I want to take a nap. I want to take a nap. It's just like, but a lot of people have never felt that, or haven't felt that in such a long time. We had another lady about 2 or 3 weeks ago. She's a physical therapist, and she averages like 2 hours of sleep a night. She can't sleep really well. She went through her experience. She slept for 7 hours. She was sleeping so well. Her husband literally came up, and the only reason she woke up is her husband checked her pulse to see if she was still alive. So the benefits of the experience are on so many different levels, and that's not even touching the physical aspects that are going to help you, whether it's inflammation, was, hey, my leg is hurting, my back is hurting. Everybody in the world, in my belief, can benefit from this process because we're all overworked, we're all overstressed, and we all have those. And especially as we get older, we get those bangs next, and it's just, everything is compounded. Everything is compounded.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is an incredible experience. And yeah, like I said, it really did help me get to my 0 point. Literally, like, all I could think about and focus on was my breath, which was extremely calming for me, because there's always a lot going on up here. So I definitely highly recommend the experience. I know that, right now you guys are doing pop-ups.
Yes.
Like, so yeah. Can you tell us about, like how you and David developed the experience, and then like,
yes.
And that whole, like, where it's at now and where it's going, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. What had happened is my cousin Bill, who is also one of our co-founders, he had signed up for a course out in California. It was like a 75-hour challenge for men to go to who are like kind of stuck in life and like kind of want to like level up and like, kind of like a reboot. I have my degree in exercise science, and he had called me, said, hey, I got this course. One of the instructors was also one of my friends. So I kind of knew a little bit about it. He said, will you train me for it? So I said, yeah, sure. Come on down. He moved down to Myrtle Beach. I trained him for it. We went through his training. It's almost a year ago now that he went through the course. And so we got all trained up, and then we were working on his physical and a little bit of the mental side of it, of the type of training they were doing. And so when he got there, he lands out in Chino Hills, California. And the very first person he met was David Semerod, who's one of our other co-founders. And they literally, they put him up in a hotel the night before. And he and David had started talking. And Bill had said, hey, I have this idea. And his original idea was sauna, ice bath, and kettlebells.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And David's idea was sauna, ice bath, and meditation. David comes from Europe, so that it's a very huge thing in Europe. So they were talking to each other, and they made it a commitment to each other. If we graduate this course, which has an over 50% washout rate, we're going to talk about it. So they both graduated the course. They're at the graduation dinner. Literally over they had shrimp, and I don't believe David had ever eaten shrimp before in his life. But like over the shrimp, he goes, so I have this idea, and you have this idea. He goes, I'm going to fly out to Myrtle Beach in about 9 days, and we're going to basically see if this can work. My cousin comes back and said, yeah, I met this guy, David. He's from Europe. He's flying out here in 9 days, and we're going to see if we can make a business out of this. Like just like run something to see if it's feasible. He goes, will you help us? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll gladly help you. I mean, at the time I was working for the state park service. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was my retirement job. I was cutting grass. I mean, I was like getting fat. And so I'm like, but in the back of my mind, I'm going like, there is no way some guy from California in 9 days is flying. I'm like, this isn't happening. 9 days later, the plane landed. David gets off the plane. So
yeah, I could see him doing that after meeting him one time.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this. And at that time, I was just an advisor, and Dave and I had multiple conversations, and we were talking a lot about the science and a lot about my background and like everything going on. And at some point, he goes, "Hey, would you mind being a co-founder, or would you come work for us and help us build this?" Of course, I said yes, because I mean it was really exciting to me. I had experience with saunas and ice baths, and I'd done a lot of reading about it. And I'm like, yeah, sure, this would be great. To me, another adventure. It's like, this is really cool. This is something that could really help a lot of people. It's like, this is something that I believe was really needed. So we're talking back and forth, and he started, got a lot of technical questions, and I didn't have the answers. I really didn't. There were some answers I didn't have. I mean, they were way above my head. So at that point, I just graduated college. I called one of my college professors, Dr. Heather Grimm. I'm like, Heather, I said, and I started just like rapid fire questions. It was like, this was over like a process of probably a week or two. And finally she goes to me, what the hell do you got yourself into? And we're talking back and forth, and I'm like, well, no, we want to do this, and this. And she goes, oh, that's a great idea. It's really awesome. And she goes, I'll help you out any way I can. And then we started bringing her into the meetings because like Heather has her PhD in kinesiology, rehabilitation, and nutrition. And so like stuff I couldn't answer, and like she had a much higher understanding than I did of some of the things. And David then invited her to become a co-founder. So like, that's how we start with the 4 co-founders.
I love it.
So like, we're established, okay, this is what we're doing. So it's like, okay, how do we do it? Well, we decided, I was still working for the State Park Service. I would work 8 hours at the State Park Service. I worked 10 to 12 hours at night doing all kind of research, trying to figure all this stuff out, and just like meetings and just going back and forth. We said, we're going to hold a free pop-up out at Myrtle Beach State Park. Thank God I worked for the state at the time. And as a state employee, I was able to rent one of the pavilions at a very low cost, which worked out really great for us. And then Bill and I went on, we called the 2 Fat Men in the Truck campaign. We're driving around talking to people saying, hey, we're having this thing out at the state park with an ice bath, a sauna, and meditation. Will you come? The very first person I approached was right in Market Commons, right there in front of the lake right there. Probably a woman about my age. And I said, hey, ma'am, excuse me, can I speak to you? Now, I'm not a small guy. I'm not a small guy. I literally said, hey, ma'am, we're having this free thing out at the state park. Would you like to come and see if it's something you might like? I got that far. She literally turned around And she didn't run, but it was a very fast walk. And I'm going, well, maybe sales is not my, not my thing. But what it taught me too is like presentation, being around people, and that's a constant work with me. Is like basically, once again, I had come out of the military, completely different world. Even though I did go to college, I still had those rough edges. But yeah, so we literally drove to every single gym in Myrtle Beach. We went to just about almost every yoga studio. I believe we went to a real hot yoga. I believe that's how we got some of your guys over there, and
Yeah,
we ended up recruiting 50 people.
it's awesome.
And then David came into town about a week before, and David being David, he can sell ice cream to an Eskimo. He's just, I mean, he's awesome, phenomenal guy. He himself got another 20 people. So our very first pop-up, we had 73 people.
So awesome.
So, yeah, and we're sitting there and we're going like, and our first idea was physical recovery, like, physical recovery, because so we run the first pop-up, and what we discovered in the first pop-up is, yes, there is a huge physical recovery component to this, but the other benefits were so great, so profound, so moving for what we all had come to. Our whole idea is we want to build a community. We want to build something that helps people take those steps, grow as people, and live a healthier, happier life. So we literally pivoted the whole idea after this one pop-up from physical recovery to more of the spiritual and the other side of MIIDZERØ. Mm-hmm. So we're going back and forth, and Craig and Nicole, who are Nicole was our very first employee. Literally how Nicole ended up there is Craig was my boss at the state park. And I'm like, hey, Craig, I'm like, Craig, we're having this thing, and literally, I need you and Nicole to show up just so people show up. He goes, oh, okay. Also, we'll show up. And then Craig told Nicole, Nicole's first words were, we'll show up, but I ain't getting in the ice bath. Not happening. Mm-hmm. Petrified, terrified. So they show up, and I'm like, no, you guys got to go in. No, please, really, you have to go in. Well, Nicole was doing some stuff on Instagram. She had a business and she was doing Instagram stuff, and her and David started talking, and she goes, oh, you do this? And David goes, yeah, well, we need that. He goes, here's our code. He gave her all of our Instagram stuff. You're hired. I mean, literally that's how it started. And then she went through the experience, and she absolutely fell in love with it. Craig also did. He absolutely fell in love with it. So like Nicole and Craig were our very first two people. Literally 3 days after that pop-up, I went into my boss and said, hey, here's my 2 weeks notice. And then and I told Craig, I said, hey, what do you think? He goes, well, this is really something I would really want to get behind. I know we're going to help a lot of people, and we're going to build this huge community that's going to make the world a better place. He goes, if I can, I would love to be involved with it. So I said, I can't guarantee anything right now. I said, because we have no money. We literally had like 2 tubs, a tent, and basically nothing. I said, when we get to it, I'll definitely would love to have you come aboard. 3 weeks later, we hired Craig. And then that's where it began. And then we just started an all-out like guerrilla marketing campaign. It's like I was pretty much everywhere in Myrtle Beach. I mean, anybody who I can talk to, anybody who I could see, I'd tell them about MIIDZERØ and the experience. And Nicole started doing our exit interviews and our testimonials, and that kind of helped started getting traction. I feel like, well, maybe there is something to this. Mm-hmm. And that's how you, and I think it was Danielle, mm-hmm. and the whole crew from Hot Works.
Real hot yoga.
Real hot yoga. There we go. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
And ended up there, and through word of mouth, people say, hey, this is really, really working. And we really started getting traction right around December, January timeframe. At this time is when we transitioned, hey, this is a good idea. January 15th, we signed a lease on our building. We had no general contractor. We had nothing. Once again, just like, we're going to do it.
This is like all blind faith.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we all believed in our heart that this is something that the world needs. And that's literally what brought us together. And just the way we all met, just the way we all, everything happened for a reason. And we were put, and like that's that higher energy that I talk about. It's just like something brought us together.
Definitely.
Yeah. So January, we signed a lease on the building. We hired a engineering firm and an architectural firm. We went through the architectural process. February, we hired a general contractor, and because of the current world situation, we were hoping to be open by April 1st. I'm not gonna lie to you, that didn't happen. We had a lot of regulatory stuff that none of us knew anything about. In between there, Bill, one of our co-founders, Bill passed away in March. So we lost him. That kind of set us back a little bit. But after that, going through that, we all sat down and said, you know, this is something, this was one of his dreams. We're going to carry forward with this, basically because it does so good. And so we end up carrying. So that kind of set us back a little bit there.
Yeah.
We started construction in the end of May of this year. Currently, we're still under construction. Right now, I have my swimming pool is in. We do have a 30-person in-ground swimming pool in a strip mall in Myrtle Beach, which that was a whole nother stuff. Every time I would call a pool contractor, because like in the state of South Carolina, it has to be a certified pool contractor to do all this stuff. They said, "You're going to put what in a where? Why?" So, and it was like, then they would talk about, well, how big is your construction management team? Well, at that time, it was me. Now, truth be told, I know nothing about construction. So everything I know about construction, I've learned in the last about 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so now we're under construction. We're projecting the end of August, beginning of September. All of our rough-in plumbing and all of our rough-in electrics done. We should start framing out the walls. And like I said, as we open up, we're having a custom-built 30-person sauna with a 30-person cold plunge pool, and everything is electronically controlled. So we can change temperatures by 1 degree if we want to. All of the lighting is what they call spectrum lighting. So it's the red, yellow, blue, indigo. We can change the lighting to change the vibe or the vibration within the class. And the sound system is also designed to basically give that full immersive experience.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and since then we've hired a few more people. We now have Paige. She's running our our back of house operations. She's doing like our mind, body, and stuff like that. And then we have Hannah. She is a new. She's an exercise science graduate as well, and she's one of our people who's going to guide the experience. And our manager literally just moved here from Connecticut. She got here last week, and she's going to manage our studio. And how we met her was through someone from the first pop-up was talking to her about the experience. And the person from the first pop-up called Bill and I. We're literally sitting on my couch. Hey, I have this person here. They would like to do the experience. I said, well, we have the sauna set up in the backyard. We have the pool set up in the backyard. If you want to come over. So she literally came over, didn't know us from Adam. Once again, just showed up at my house. And she went through the experience, her and her husband, Julio. And I'm like, and she was floored. She's like, this is absolutely, I want to be a part of this. I said, well, we can talk right now. Once again, we don't have, we can't hire you. It's where we're at. She goes, no, definitely keep me in mind. She called back the next day. She said, I feel so good. I want to do it again. So she literally came back the next day by herself. Like I said, once again, you've met me, you've met Bill. We're not small guys. Like we should be on a milk box or basically like somewhere in the post office. And it just basically everything has happened. It's just been so natural or just grown. Grassroots. And as we're moving forward, our very first location is going to be here in Myrtle Beach. This is going to be our anchor store. This is the beginning of the Mind Zero Nation, or the community we plan on building. Our next step, I'm not 100% sure where we're going to be. Right now, we had talked about LA, since David does live in LA. But we're gonna look to see where it's gonna work out best for us. But ultimately, our goal is 2,000 stores nationwide. We truly believe we can do that. We truly believe that it's something that everybody should have access to. As we go forward, it's it's probably the most rewarding thing I've done probably my entire life. I mean, it's long days, 7 days a week. To see that one person where they're so stressed out, and you can physically see their jaw relaxes, and they get to that state of, I'm at peace. That is worth all the hours. That is worth all the time. That is worth everything. Because ultimately, our ultimate goal in life, I believe, is, how do I help my fellow person? How do I elevate that next person? How do I get them to where they want to be? Because I think if we live that way, it changes the entire dynamic of everything.
I agree. And I think it's amazing and inspiring. And also, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
I just think it's sort of amazing that, your cousin had this inspiration from the energy that you talk about, like from source, and really put this together, like was the driving force to put it together. And it's sad that, he's not here in the physical to see how much it's taken off. But I feel deep within me, as a spiritual healer and a medium and all this, that his energy is going to continue to drive the success of the Mind Zero experience. So I think that's really, it's like tragically beautiful in a way. So I think it's amazing, and I believe in the experience too. And I think that you all are on the same like frequency, if you will, like your hearts are all in it. And so it's just gonna build it out. And I know a lot of people that have gone through the experience multiple times, and we all really believe in this experience. And it's something that, I know that in Europe, it is something that, people do, but this is something that I've never really seen in the States before. So, I think it's really amazing. And I'm excited to see how it grows, and I need to get my butt back to a Mind Zero experience. Yeah, I'm really excited. So like, when is the new building when is it supposed to be finished? Like, do you have a timeline on that?
Yeah. Roughly, we're looking like the end of August, beginning of September. We're looking at
it's soon.
Yeah, I mean, construction dependent.
Of course.
If everything goes correctly, by the end of this month, we should have our softs opening. We're looking at a hard opening probably mid-September, because we want to run for a couple weeks. And so, like I said, that's construction dependent. Right now, we have all of our supplies. We don't foresee any supply chain issues. I think we've ironed all those out. But as with anything, things happen, but that's our tentative schedule right now. What we do have is we have an Instagram account, and we have a website, and people who have been following us, we like to give them like updates at all times. And if you go to it's mindzero.com is our website. They're very, that's run by Nicole and Paige. They do a fabulous job. And then our Instagram is mindzero.inc at Instagram. Someone owns Mind Zero, and they don't really want to sell it, so we have to put the .inc on there. But
okay.
But yeah, so it's but we post updates all the time, and then also we have people, we have pre-sold memberships, and we have our like our members section where they get a weekly, not weekly, a bi-weekly update of, hey, what's going on in MIIDZERØ world. The one thing, just kind of circling back just a little bit, is we were talking about Europe, is in Europe, when they do this, it's a very community oriented thing, is but where we're slightly different is like in Europe, a lot of business, or even in Asia, or like in other cultures, or in the Eastern culture, a lot of business is done there. People just go, they hang out. This is where they do their business deals, and there is that community there. Our basis here is we want people to feel that same community, but it doesn't have to be business driven. It could just be human to human, that contact, that, and that's why, like, when we do everything together, or when we plunge into the ice bath, that's why everybody holds hands, because we're doing something difficult and we're building that community. And it's really empowering to everybody, because I mean, I'm sure you've seen people who you've gone through with, and you're just going, hey, what's up? It's just that connection, and that's what we're after, is that connection.
I think it's amazing. And I was going to ask, because I know David's from Europe, but what is his, do you know, like, of course, I'm sure you do, like his background?
David grew up in the Czech Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when he was 16 years old, he came to the United States on a student exchange program. If you ask him, he never knew soda came in a can. He thought it was always bottles. I mean, but he was. I lived in I think it was New Hampshire. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was New Hampshire. And he came to the United States and learned about business and stuff like that. He went back to the Czech Republic, and at the age of 17, started his first business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. From that business, he grew. He's still one of the co-founders of STRV, which is a huge app development company. Most of his work's has been in the tech space.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still one of the co-founders of STRV. They do a lot of app development and computer technologies. After he left STRV, he started a company called Kindness. It was a platform for nonprofits to be able to raise money. That's kind of like how it kind of evolved into where we're at now, and kind of like where our strategic vision is, and help them raise money. And he's been successful over the last 20 years. And he's to a point in the conversations we've had where it's like, this is like what he was meant to do. Everything he's done, it has brought him to this point. Whether it's, meeting my cousin, or just everything has brought him. So he comes from the tech world, with the European culture, kind of combining everything.
It's amazing. Well, yeah, I can't say enough good things about MIIDZERØ. And yes, thank you so much for being on the podcast this week and sharing, your experience, your life experience, and then just all of it. I encourage people to give the MIIDZERØ experience a try and connect with George if you have a chance. But is there anything else that you wanted to share?
Basically, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Me too.
Community is everything. We want to build that community, and we would love the opportunity to show you our product and how something as simple as an ice bath and a sauna could so drastically change the world you're living in. It's a phenomenal experience, and we would love to have you. One thing we do have is between now and our opening, we do have free pop-ups here in the Myrtle Beach area.
Mm-hmm.
They're Tuesday nights, 5:30 and 7. Friday morning or Friday mid-afternoon, which is 10 and 11, and then Saturday morning at 8:30 and 10. Right now, we used to do them right behind our building, but like they're doing construction, they probably wouldn't appreciate us all together right now. So our temporary location is over at Carolina Fitness on 544. They have been gracious enough to give us a spot back there. So those days, if you go to mindzero.com or mindzero.inc, there's a link. We have an app now where you can sign up. Everything's on the app, the MindZero app. It's free on Apple and the I can never remember the Google one, but like
Android.
Android, yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. That's right, you're an Android. But yeah, it's a good way to sign up, and it gives you that opportunity to see the experience. And the experience that we do is exactly the same as we're going to do it in the studio, just much lower budget.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a sauna tent, which and the cold plunge pools, but the effects are exactly the same. So it's give it a shot. I mean, it's definitely something worth 45 minutes of your time.
Absolutely.
45 minutes could change your life.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, George. I really appreciate you, and everybody should check out MindZero. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to Tattva Tuesday on Spotify and YouTube, however you're consuming the information. And I will check you all next week. Thanks, guys.